Hey guys, welcome in. It is time for Blue Sky Psychology Hour. I'm so thankful to be here with you guys. My name is Becky, and happy Psychology Hour. I'll leave a little comment. How's everyone? How's everyone's week? It's Tuesday. It's early in the week still. I feel like there's a lot of potential still on the table. A lot we could do with this week still. It is summertime. So, I don't know if everyone else's schedule is as modified as mine, but summer is a different energy for me. So I, I feel like the days just fly by. It's just constantly a madness of more pivoting in my mind, a little less focused time. What is up, my girls? Mary and Tina in the house. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for showing up for these psychology hours because I love them and I have been a trader for 5.5 years. And so I think these conversations don't get old. I think that there's different ways to talk about them and to still extract value from talking all around the whole concept of what we're doing as traders and how we're breaking through barriers to achieve higher levels of success and working through some struggles along the way. That's where I'm at with my energy and what I like to bring to the table. So today is kind of a fun one in that element, I suppose, of the psychology conversations just being ongoing. This is a slightly different take on the ways that we talk about psychology because I want to kind of reframe it in a way that might hit home for certain people and a different kind of way, a different lens, I suppose, to look at the similar subjects of what we're talking about of how can we behave our best. Behave our best at our charts, right? Honor our discipline and our rules and our expectations for ourselves and how we want to show up. So I'm coming at it with the whole idea of what is our code? Can we rewire our mental code and kind of framing the body and the mind as the computer and thinking about it from that lens of like, if we control what we expect out of this computer, then it should have a consistent output. That's how we're going to think about it. What is up, Fatima, Trader? Thank you guys for showing up. Nice to see you guys here. And I do have to give a shout out because this is kind of was inspired by recent conversations with Matt during our Power Hour streams, and then also traders Ace and Mr. Hood that are Blue Sky traders that are in the lives every once in a while. Ace is pretty consistent. I hope he shows up today. I don't know if he's here yet, but anyway, cheers to just having conversation with other traders and having them make us think about things in a different light and with a different energy. Zena, aw. And how we can show up and be our best, most effective selves. So this is what today will look like for us. What we're going to talk about is looking at our mind like a machine, okay? And so figuring out exactly what code needs to be written to produce consistent, profitable outcomes. And I kind of love that approach because it gives us the power of like what we tell our bodies, our minds, our whole energy to produce is what we should be able to program it as and get on the outside. Now, this is sounds easier than it is in real time, but I dug into it and I researched and I thought about it and I got some different strategies for us to come at this with. I'm going to break it down into the hardware and the software of our machines, how it runs together, and then what the ideal output would be at the end. So it's a different framework on how we can basically kind of try to get some more control over our output as traders. Okay. So I believe, I would be shocked if anyone didn't fully understand this, but our brain is already running a code, right? The question is the question isn't whether you're running a code, it's whether the program that you're running is one you consciously wrote or one that was just installed over time by fear, bad habits, old losses, early trauma, early experiences for the better or for the worse. Oftentimes, our code is being written without our direct involvement, without our personal conscious management of it. And then you're just sort of having output based on what it has, accidentally kind of stuck around in our brains. And so I want to see if we can get more of a conscious control over that. I do love Mark Douglas Trading the Zone. And a quote from him that kind of is along this vein is that the most important thing is to transform your feelings, not to suppress them. And so we are humans, right? If you are a discretionary futures day trader, you are a human trying to operate to the best of your ability, you will have feelings. And so what the goal would be then is to try and manage them so that we can get the best outputs, right? Right. So I want us all to, we're going to go down a little bit before we pull it all together. But if you think with me about your last losing streak or recent losing streak, in those moments, what's up? Welcome, Arcano. In your last losing streak, in a last period where you struggled, were you following a defined plan or were you running on emotion and instinct? So if you were struggling, you were hitting your daily loss limit, you were tilting, perhaps you blew an account or two, what did that look like? Is it because your plan was not effective? Or was it because you got into the emotion and you were trying to just be an instinctual trader, which guilty, I have done that before and I struggled. I want you guys to, consider the implications of that, right? Does everyone here today, do you guys have a written plan? If not, what are you actually following? So I, for a long time, did not. I think I had notes. I had post-it notes. I had note cards. I had a journal of like things I had learned from different coaches. And it was probably more than a year into my career before I actually formally started writing down what a setup would look like for me and what my entry and exit criteria would be and how I would manage my stop. And then when prop funding companies came online and I started trading with those about 4 years ago, what does risk management look like within the setting of a funded account? How long to pass? How long to build them up? Blah, blah, blah. And so I was fully guilty of not having a written trade plan early in my trading career. Now I do. And now it really actually strengthens me to remind myself of it regularly. But if you don't, I would consider you to think about that throughout today's conversation because it is pretty valuable to have it written out because then you kind of have higher expectations for yourself and a more clear plan. I do think that when I was researching this, it did say that these studies are never as comprehensive as we would like them to be, but most traders are running unwritten, untested code and wondering why the output keeps surprising them. And so that is the hopium that sometimes we talk about, right? You're just hoping to make the right call in real time, have the right influences around you, kind of take a stab at it. When it looks bullish, you try and go long. When it looks bearish, you try and go short. That is more common, especially for early traders, to start that way. Mary, yes, I love that you have a written solid plan. And you know what? Your statistics support that. So right there is the primary example of why you want to have a strong code written out. So let's talk first about the hardware of our personal machines. So today we're going to talk about, for those that are just joining, about our body and mind as a trader in terms of what if we considered it like a machine, like a computer with a hardware and a software. And when you create the right strength and structure, you'll get a certain output. And so I want us to try and think about how we can best control and manage our hardware and our software so that we can get the ideal output that we are striving for. All right, so we're going to break it down first. We're starting with the hardware piece. The hardware is your body and your base functionality, right? You want to be strong, be able to show up to your arena with some stability, some steadiness, some ability to be sharp and focused. And so that looks like you have to set yourself up for a successful day. So a computer with a faulty processor, insufficient memory, power issues, it cannot execute a perfect code reliably. Even if you have the perfect code, if your hardware is faulty or malfunctioning or getting old or not giving what it needs in terms of a hardwired internet connection and enough RAM so that it can keep up, it doesn't matter what your code is. It's going to fail in the moment, right? So if you think about it like that, these things are a big deal. So sleep, your prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is the decision-making center, your ability to stay calm, centered, focused, decision and business oriented, that degrades pretty significantly, pretty steeply when you get poor sleep. That's just literally scientifically proven that your decision functioning is sluggish and not as effective and will slip away faster when you get put under stress if you don't have adequate sleep. And so tired traders revenge trade, tired traders overtrade, tired traders don't shut down when their system is indicating that they should shut down. Same thing with nutrition, movement, and hydration. All those kind of go in one basket for me in terms of like the core physiological needs of your body. You want to get your blood flowing. That way your brain is perfused nicely and you're not having aches and pains. You're feeling strong. And then you want to have, some baseline hydration and food. So you don't want to have big blood sugar swings because everyone knows about hunger. And there is a real emotional implication of not giving your body the nourishment it needs so that neurons can fire quickly. You want your brain to be able to pick up and handle it effectively. And that looks like you have to give it fuel in order for it to literally function at optimal capacity. Same thing with hydration. Body without nicely lubricated in the brain is a little bit more sluggish. And my last week, I hope you guys were here, I had my guest coach on, Coach Amy, and she chatted with me and she really emphasizes hydration. And she's like, that is so key. And so many people struggle in life and they think that they're hungry and they get crabby. And a lot of that comes down to not having enough water in their day. So that's such a good reminder that she gave us all last week. And then also your environment when it's time for you to execute your system. This is where certain people have some challenges with this, and some people are great. If you don't have kids or a family right on you during your trading session, you're going to be able to find peace more easily. But you want to try and lock into having a quiet, distraction free space. That way, your brain can focus on the work. Like, this is a serious time. I'm here at my work, functioning within my business so that I can put risk on. And so I want to make sure that the milieu around me is calm and enjoyable and peaceful. That way you're not thinking about what you have to do over here with this thing that's like this person that is really needy. If you can get someone to help you with that and take care of it, you'll be in a much better situation to really just lock into your system and stay present and focused. So these are kind of the background of it. So now if you don't do this, or you do, or you're trying to get better at it, there are some checklists here that can help remind you in the morning, if you don't have a clear system with this yet, that your body, your hardware of your system, if you're trying to execute a plan, you want to have a base stability model. And so that can look like, and even too, consistently profitable traders, they treat pre-market preparation as a non-negotiable infrastructure. It's not optional. Same thing with performance athletes, or, people who manage multi-million-dollar businesses. Their core stability plan that keeps them able to show up with their best focus and intention is that they manage these certain things. They manage their rest and get a minimum amount of sleep that your body needs. Everyone's a little different with that, between 6 to 8 hours usually. But also a morning routine, rolling in out of bed, half awake and not even knowing what is going on at all and trying to execute a trade within minutes is risky. Whereas if you can come in and have some focus, drink something, coffee, water, like calm your body down, get your levels drawn. Everyone's different. We've done a couple sessions about pre-market routine, and you don't have to do everything, but you want to prioritize some key things that will make sure that you are set up for your best success. I always want to have my levels drawn completely, and I really perform better when I have a written out plan of what my best morning trade would look like and what levels I'm leaning on. That basically just reminds me to focus on that. When the market starts printing candles, which level am I most interested in, and what is it doing when it's getting closer or hesitating or whatnot? So that's part of my routine that I need. What's up, Naz? Happy to see you in here. Thanks for coming. Environment. So that's the same thing as we talked about on the previous slide with distraction. You want to make sure that whatever gives you the optimal conditions is what you need to have set up before your trading session is underway. So some people need quiet. Some people like a certain type of background music. Quietly. You want to make sure, if you have a family, I need to make sure that they have food and whatever, or my husband's taking care of them. Someone has got them handled so that I can focus for a good chunk of it. And then some people really value in mentally checking in with how they're feeling that morning. This is really valuable. On a normal day, most of the time you're pretty steady. If your life is pretty consistent and settled and you don't find that you're in a roller coaster of a season, this one is variable. But if you do have certain external factors that are going on, such as, some controversy or drama in a close personal relationship, or some health issues that can be pretty serious, this is going to be key for you, because you want to have a mental check-in in the morning that says, am I steady? Do I feel good? Did I get rest? Am I super distracted because I'm really worried about this doctor's appointment in 2 hours? Or did I get in another argument with my personal, partner last night and I'm still pissed off about it? Those are red flags in terms of your mental check-in in the morning. So this is all about making sure your hardware is ready to function and handle your day. Brett Steenbarger, you guys have heard me mention him before. Most of you know him anyways. He wrote The Psychology of Trading as just one piece of a massive body of work he's done in the trading psychology space. But something he has said is, you are your own most important trading tool. Protect that tool. And so I want you guys to always kind of remember that this is important. This shouldn't be optional. This should be how you show up to be a professional trader. This is required in order to get the output that we're getting towards here. Thank you guys all for popping in here. If you just hopped in, we are talking about today, we're breaking it down into treating our minds and bodies as a professional trading machine, similar to a computer. So what we just covered is about the hardware, basically the infrastructure behind operating and executing a strong plan. Means you need to have rest and hydration and nutrition and be focused and able to be in that prefrontal cortex where you can be really focused on your intentions. Then you have the best chance of operating your code. Yes, Miriam. Good. This is important. So let's get into some more details here where we get deeper into now being the trader, right? So we're ready and you're steady each day before your trading session. Important. Now, what's your software? Writing the code that actually works. Now, this is definitely heavily influenced by Coach Matt, because he is all about having a very clear, strong trading system that you understand inside and out, and you only execute based on when you see certain things. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being in here, Jessica and Naz. I was off on all 4 yesterday, nonsense, and led to 7 blown accounts. Okay. So we're getting like it. I have shown up and have been off on some of these, and I have wrecked myself also. And so I literally, these are psychology labs are not hard to put together when I do a little research and I think about them because I've lived them. So I'm with you guys on that. Oh, you know what? Everyone has a season where they're struggling, and the tilt is easy. And you know what's easier when you tilt? If you are underfed and underrested and having some feels. When those red flags are on there, that's when you got to kind of recognize that this is when your hardware is compromised. So your software is just not going to be executed. So let's talk software. The computer doesn't assume, right? A computer, you buy a computer off Amazon or whatever, you plug it in and you like it's not going to do anything, right? It's just a machine. So it doesn't improvise. It's not going to figure it out what it thinks that who you are. It's not intuitive. It's a machine. It will execute exactly what is written into it, what is asked of it, what it is searched, what it is told to do. Think about that as a trader. So your trading playbook should be the same: explicit, tested, specific, known inside and out. If you are newer to trading your first couple of years, be open to modifying it. But when the trading session is in play, when you are actively trading, you want to honor it. So I would say that, don't modify it in real time necessarily based on outside noise or what have you, but make notes in a trading session if you think you want to modify it. And you have full rights to make your playbook a living, breathing being that you constantly are refining and updating as you learn more. But when it's a trading session, you want to have a trading playbook that you have studied and back tested and understand and see regularly. And it's kind of specified for your instrument of choice. You think about ATR and how you manage your stop. That's going to be different if you're a swing trader versus a day trader. If you're trading gold versus ES or NASDAQ, those sometimes are managed slightly differently in terms of stop management. Excuse me. So that is your trading playbook. Larry Hite, I love this quote: amateurs want to be right, professionals want to make money. And so this is where you don't want to fight for a bias, but instead you want to say, if my support on the hourly holds and I get this candle pattern in that support area, then my entry criteria says that I get in when this candle breaks in this direction, blah, blah, blah. The RSI has to do this. There has to be volume, whatever it is for you, however you have defined your playbook. And we can talk about that more, but Coach Matt is really good at all of that. Your trading playbook needs to be your software, right? So what you would put into this, what you put into your software, your playbook, your code, your strategy, it has to contain core information. Now I dialed this in a little bit more too for futures day traders, because here at BluSky, that's our main jam is futures day trading. This can be adjusted for all types of trading, but vague rules produce vague results, right? If you just say, I want to go long when we're bullish and I want to take it till we meet resistance, that's not really a clear code, because there's a million ways that could be spoken to in a trading session. If you know playbook, as you're building it, as you're dialing it in, as you're getting more specific, as you're figuring out what feels good and what doesn't, you want to be specific and avoid ambiguous instructions. You want to write it, consider it as if it's programming a machine that has no ability to guess your intentions, which that's what I love about this whole concept today is, if we can think about our brains, our trading as a software of you tell it what to do, and then the trigger is only pulled if the criteria happens. And so if we can frame that as, what would my entry criteria look like? Exact conditions that must be present before a trade is taken. And so you want to cut out the exceptions on that. You want to be really specific in terms of, when I see this, then this is what I'm going to do. Same thing with stop management and targets. So you want to have a predefined understanding of how much risk you're going to take, but then also where you would put your stop loss based on the structure. And you want to think about that when you consider your size too, because if on the NASDAQ, it's about a 40-point stop would make sense based on the structure and your entry and the pullback that you got in on. Then consider how much size you can put on, knowing you have to take 40 points if you take a hit. Is that 1 or 2 micros? Is your account large? And maybe you can do a whole mini. Think about the shot placement based on your account size and what you have the ability to trade. And then also where you got in at and what that looks like for growth of the trade. Now, similar for targets, where and why you want to exit. So profit targets are tied to your system's back tested edge. These are things are both the stop loss play, all of these entry criteria, stop loss placement, and target logic should be instrument specific and based on how you read the market, how you were taught, what your fundamentals are that you like to see in order to frame up a trade and have some logic behind it that fits with your system. This morning, I got in along on the pullback on NQ and well, I took the short down and then I took the long. But my targets were extremely specific based on my back tested strategy. There was the value area high from the previous day in confluence with the VWAP band, both of which are core to my strategy. I trade volume area and trade the VWAP bands. I trade support and resistance. All of them were present there. This was an A plus setup for me to short down into that area, tag my target, and then I'm out. I didn't have lower targets because I felt like that was such a strong, there were so many confluences at that when it hit there, I didn't even want to runner because I could see such a strong bounce off of that I didn't want, it was too early in the day and I didn't want to have to hold anything through the rebound. Sure enough, that was the low of the day. And so when it hit that and I saw that it was holding, that's where I also took the long. And so this is because my software dictated it, because I have spent 5 years plus writing out my code, writing out my trading strategy of how I understand the market, how I like to read it, what I like to put my levels at and why, how I understand them and what I want to see at those levels. And so that helps me have less ambiguity in the morning because it's not a question of, well, we're shorting, I just want to hold it to zero. I don't want to hold it to zero. I want to, my back testing has shown that if I have so many confluences for level to get tagged, oftentimes there's a lot of people also watching the same thing. Even if you're watching one of the 3 things that I was watching for at that target, if enough people are watching even just one of those things, it will have a strong response, at least in the bounce. And that early in the session, I also know my psychology and I don't want to withhold through a massive bounce. And so that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about that you would frame up over time. Thanks, Fatima. Yes. You didn't hold and book solid profit. Yeah. Yeah. See, I would have gotten stopped out. Like if I didn't have so much in my strategy that said, this is such an important level that I think I can hold to it because I had to hold through some chop. And then once it gets there, I don't want to run her in this situation because also my strategy shows that early in the trading session, there's a lot of bounciness sometimes, especially lately. And so this is how I want you guys to conceptualize learning constantly. And in that moment, you trade your system. So I'm glad that you had a stop in place and you were protected, Mary, you just weren't still short when the day continued to push all day. But as you learn and grow, fine tune your strategy and build it up with the most robust system that you can. Trade management rules are in the similar vein of this should be a part of your strategy plan in your software that you are wiring into your computer, that you are feeding in to your brain and how you are growing it. So trade management rules, how you want to scale out, your trailing rules, what triggers you to stay in or enter or exit. All of that is part of how you can create your strategy. Add detail, like expand upon it. I do like to have runners. In this trade this morning that I'm speaking of, I didn't have a runner because the range was still pretty tight and we were overall bullish. And I just decided there was too many confluences. And so I have some discretion in my trading too. Oftentimes I will have a runner, but if I have such a massive key level and I feel like we're already getting extended, that's when I don't want to hold a runner because I'm not willing to even let one micro come back on me necessarily. I'll just get back in. I'll let the bounce happen. And then if I see another failure and it looks like it's going for another level down in the short setting, then I can get back in with a different sort of risk management, if that makes sense. So that is the trade management is just as important to be a part of your software as is your entry and exit criteria core information. And then also, I want you guys to think about market conditions or personal states where your system says don't engage. So what does that look like for you? If, for example, for me, I don't like to chase. I like to get as good entry as I can near a pivot and then scale out and then shut it down. But if I miss the entry and it's already flying, it's way away from the moving averages and VWAP and it's up in the upper standard deviation bands, I can't do that. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable for it. It makes my stomach do a little flip flop with the idea of, for example, going long after we've had a big push up and we're so bullish. So I need to be in the long position. That's a no trade condition for me because I will F around and find out in that situation. Let me tell you what I'll do. Fatima knows. I give you a minute to answer, but I would short. I would try and catch the top because we're so far extended that I can't chase. It's like against, like it literally, I can't do it. And so in that situation, my urge would be to short. And that often is not the answer either because you're shorting momentum and strength, which is not the good answer. And so for me, that is a no condition, no engagement opportunity for me that I have put into my software too. If we're so far distended and I didn't get a good entry, I have to just set alerts at where I think it could pull back to join, or where I think it's pushing to, and then maybe I can see a short opportunity if it really starts rejecting there. But in that situation, it's better for me to walk away. And so that's something also that you can put into your software of, if I see this and there's no good setup, then I just don't click a button, because I truly have grown as a trader when I view the market as abundant, like abundant, right? There is opportunity all the time. And so why do I got to take a C setup where I'm just longing at the top because we're bullish and I haven't pulled a trade yet? That is the opposite of a good trade for me. Some people might have a strategy with it. There's a potential momentum play there that you could just, keep it tight with. I don't enjoy that trade because I've gotten into trouble with it. I have chased and that has failed. I have tried to cash a top and that has failed. And so, that is, all of these things grow and shape you. And if you're journaling, you're recognizing them in real time, you'll notice they'll happen time and time again. If something that is happening to you good or for worse, time and time again, then you need to manage that, I suppose, in a way that you are either making your trade plan favorite because it's really good, or make it a no trade condition because it just is super inconsistent for you. So a part of how journaling can feed into creating your software. And Mary and Fatima, you guys really like each other. I can connect you in Discord if you want, because you both are excellent traders who've been in the game a little bit. You guys would be friends. Okay, so I want to ask you guys a question. We've got a few people in the room. Tell me if you got it. Do you have a written trading plan right now? Not in your head, but actually written down with specific rules. Doesn't have to be as robust as it could be for, say, Coach Matt, or mine is less than his, but it's still, my trading plan is 5 pages in a Google Doc, 4.5. Because I have specific, pieces about my hardware actually, which I didn't have it labeled that way, but it's like what I need to see in my person before, how I manage it, what I do after, and then specific trade setup. So mine is about 4 pages long in a Google Doc. That way I can modify it. I can pull it up and read it. I can read it on my phone. It's great. So I am a yes on that as a written trading plan. I do love my shorts, Fatima, which is a problem sometimes because the market is overall quite bullish. But I do. No, I don't, but that's what I'm going to work on this week. I love that. Okay, so work on this week. Let me inspire you today. And then Coach Matt is really good about talking about trade plan strategy at the technical lab on Thursdays too. But then in all of our streams, we like to talk about setups and what we see and what we like certain levels from. And I would encourage you to not try and bust it out in 1 week, but start framing it in 1 week, because you really do want it to be a living, breathing document where you feed into it and you take things in and you write them down, and then you try and watch what you wrote down and see if it consistently works or is too variable and you need to adjust it or take it out of your plan. And so if you don't have one yet, totally fine, very normal. I didn't for like 2 years. But I would encourage you to start. You can start on paper because there is a nice connection of making things real. When you write them down, you basically kind of putting them into some real life existence, and then read it anytime. You guys saying? Hit me up on Discord, Naz. I'm not going to share it freely yet because I don't teach the technicals massively yet, but I will. Yeah, I totally will. I don't know that I'll put it out there publicly, but yeah, if you find me in Discord and then tag me specifically so that we know that we're the real people, and then I'll message you for sure. You don't have a written plan yet, Jessica? Working on one. Good. Miriam, I know you have a written one. Amaro, I think you have a written one. Amaro, you are not stupid. We have had a conversation and there's no one's stupid. Come on. Yeah, but we are taking lessons and we are learning. And that's why these conversations, when you show up for these conversations, it's a big deal because it starts shifting your mind. Literally, by coming to this psychology hour every week, you guys are changing your software and your approach to trading, because you are saying, I know that trading psychology is a big deal and that is a game changer and that is critical for people who actually make it in trading. And then you're showing up for things like this today that will make you better. And I'm not saying that to like toot my own horn. I'm saying that because when I put these together, it makes me better. That's my metric. If I think the conversation could be good and it brings value to me, and the whole idea of pulling it together for these Tuesday labs makes me have some good moments of like, yes, I want to do that more and I could do better with this. That's why I want to talk to you guys about, because I am a real trader. I trade Monday through Friday every week unless I'm out of town. And so I'm in it with you guys. So the goal isn't shame at all, Amaro. It's clarity. So I want you guys to think about, if you don't have a written code, or it's still soft, or it's still in your mind, or it's still on Post-it notes and note cards, which mine was for a long time, you can make it real. And then if you have one and you want to adjust it, you can rewrite it and fine tune it over time, which is incredibly valuable. There you go. Okay, so let's pull it together. So let's talk about how we could run the program. We want to execute our program to the best of our ability and not really improvise. There is room for improvisation. There is some discretion. We are human traders, right? But you want to not rely on improvisation, and you want to diminish that the best you can, especially when you're early in the trading, because your statistics are going to get blurred as all get out if you're taking 50 trades in a day on impulse. How are you going to track that? How are you going to pull out the gems of what was really the best trade and what wasn't, and what was FOMO, when it's so muddied at that point? But instead, if you can start writing out a plan and then try to execute it best you can every day, no one has to be perfect, because no one is perfect. But instead, do your best with it and make notes and think, had I waited for this, it would have been a better outcome based on what happened this day. So make a note on that and try the next time to wait for that sort of trigger to get in or out of a trade. Tima doesn't have any. You don't have one written down, girlfriend? We didn't talk about this. I'll send you mine. You and I have been friends a long time. Yeah. It's such a big difference when we have a written plan and expectations and intentions with who we're going to be as a trader. So let's think about this, right? When I was thinking about this concept, I was like, I want us to stop going rogue. I want to not go rogue on my charts. I want to not be like, F it, my short didn't work, I'm going long. Because I've done that. And that was not generally my most well thought out plan. And it was a little bit, extra. But instead, if I cannot go rogue and instead have a pretty good trading strategy plan and then operate to the best of my ability, I'm in, And so when a computer is programmed correctly, it doesn't get frustrated on a red day and start executing random commands. It doesn't second guess its own code mid-process. This is the standard that I think that we should strive for. When your setup isn't there, the system doesn't have anything to do. When the setup is there, the system goes. Your job is to execute, not to reinvent, especially mid-session. So when the trading session is underway, the candles are printing, New York session, there's high volume, you're trying to get a trade off, you're trying to lock it in, maybe you only have an hour. For me, sometimes I only have 45 minutes in the morning of peace and quiet that my home situation can grant me, and then the rest of it is guaranteed distractions. So for me, I really want to try and get a setup during that time. That has messed me up in my growth as a trader by saying I need to get a trade off in the first half an hour. I sometimes will get a little bit, I won't follow my plan specifically. But instead, if I think about, my job is not to just find a maybe trade. My job is to say, if I can get a setup at my level, I'm in. And that looks like I get in when this candle is broken and this level is holding and I see the volume at the pivot, etc. And so this should be our standard, right? If we're thinking of our brain and our trading infrastructure as the computer, say I want you to start YouTube if I get a tag from BluSky that there's a streamer on. Well, if there's no tag that there's no streamer on YouTube, let me get my words out. BluSky will never turn on because your computer will say there was never an alert that they're live. Okay, so that's a simple, very simple. If this triggers, then turn it on. No trigger, no turn on. Same thing with your trades. If I don't get this set up at my level that I'm interested in and it presents in this way, then there's not a trade to click. And so do you see how that provides so much safety? Oh, thanks, Matt. You were part of my inspiration for this. I gave you some nods in the beginning, and you'll probably click as you hang out and why. So that is the discipline that we're trying to get. The consistency you seek is in your mind, not in the markets. And that's from Mark Douglas. And I love that because this market's going to do any kind of thing she wants. She's going to dance her own way. You're going to think it's bullish and it goes bearish, and vice versa. You're going to think it's trending and it goes rotational and takes out all the lows, what have you. What we have to do is figure out our own personal consistency. And that is where we have a dialed in software plan and we execute based on when we see the right criteria. And so there's discipline to that, right? If you look at this little, thing on the left of the screen there, what does that discipline look like? So traders with a software program programmed into their system with having a strong trading strategy that you understand and you operate, you follow the rules and you get more consistent results. Excuse me. No trading plan is 100% because that's just, there's discretion with this. The market sometimes does rogue things in the setting of a random, Truth Social. It's going to take out everyone who didn't happen to be on the side of what that was that you can't really anticipate. And so this is where you do want to have a very consistent setup that you've back tested and has a profitable win rate expectation. And then you'll get more consistent results. You just will when you're not kind of roguing it midday. A rigid algorithm is a kind of a way to think about it. Now, rigid makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I do think you can have some flexibility with it, but not a lot, honestly. Like, this is what I want to try and like frame it in a way of the software of the computer that you have programmed, which is your mining, your trading strategy. You want to try to, as strictly as possible, adhere to that because that will give you more predictable trade outcomes. If you say, based on if I get a 4-hour level in confluence with a value area level with the VWAP in right there too, this is a big deal. And so this level has all of my attention. And if I see a pivot there and a hold and a bullish defense, that's go time. My strategy says long that every day from Sunday. And so in that situation, based on my software, I get the entry criteria to go long. Where do I get in? What time frame am I getting in on? Where does it say my risk goes on? That shouldn't be something that you have to figure out in real time once you've created your software or your strategy book, because it will say this triggers me in if I see this at my level and my risk is this. And if my risk is 40 points on NQ, I can only get in with 3 micros because I can't take a hit larger than that per my strategy, per my software. Your computer says, Coach Becky, you were only going to take a max of $500 loss on each trade. And so you get to get, 4 micros in this trade. So then I don't go higher than that. Maybe I go in for 2 and then I add my other 2. And so having that, do you see how like having that delineated and written down is so powerful? Because in the moment, you don't have to think, gosh, it was just so bearish. And I go, it's got to keep going down. Well, where are you at? And, what does your system say? You want to try and pull back from the emotionals, which will override your system. That's how this can go awry, right? We have a software. You have your trading strategy. We're basically equating your computer's programming to your strategy, your playbook, what would get you in a trade and how you manage it. And so if you emotionally override that, it's basically like your system, you have an algorithm that says you do this. But if you instead say, nah, I don't think it's going to work this time. I feel this kind of way. I heard this thing on, Twitter or TikTok that we're going to the bottoms of the depths of hell. So of course I'm shorting. You override it, your stats are skewed. You're going to be tilting into emotions because you're pulling away from logic in your strategy. And that's where you can get into the revenge trade every time. And that's where the impulsive, the second guessing, the inconsistent action, that is taking your discipline away. And I want you guys to know that no system is perfect, but do you see how like the upper ranges of this and the higher discipline and honoring your software is so much more consistent than allowing the impulsivity in? Like, those are 2 different ways to get into your day. So, hold on one second. I try to always, and I am 0% perfect, but my goal is to only engage in high probability setups. That I wouldn't even know what a high probability setup is if I didn't have a set trading plan that says on this type of day, this is what I'm watching, this level that looks like this looks great. When all those things are in place, that's an A+ setup for me. Now, I can't always necessarily grade it in real time, A, blah, 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 but I can say this is high quality, high level. I love this area because, and if I have a list of why I love a trade, like we're in, that's when I want to be able to figure out how I can get in for full size on those trades. Computers are built for specific tasks, right? They don't run software they weren't designed for. You are not built to trade every moment that the market is open. You are built to execute your specific edge and only your edge. So what I mean there is there's so much abundance with trading. There's so many markets to trade. There is stocks and crypto and forex specific. And so it's going to look a little different for different instruments. And you can have multiples, you can have an NQ, you can have variances for ES, you can have variances for gold that are a little bit more specific because you want to design your specific edge. That way you can honor it in real time and it comes to you so much faster. When it is written down, there's less variability with it. And so that's like where your computer gets to be very specific. You get to do code, right? It's a series of zeros and ones. You get to say, when my instrument does blah, blah, blah at this level, then this is what I do. Having that set up then it's specific and you can really be so much faster and so much more at peace and stay in that logical prefrontal cortex. You don't have to get emotional because there's no questioning in it. There's no hunting and wondering and trying to chase someone else. And so when you see the setup, all your criteria from your playbook are there. You can see it faster. Then you execute the code, right? The code is the software that you design, means you get in here, then you place your stop, you place your targets. It's not a question. You're faster that way, and your RR will be better because this is a back tested system that has a high expectancy of success. And then you let it run, which, no interference. You trust the system you built. The caveat to this is that you can have within your system trade management. That's what we talked about, entry, exit, and targets. Those are specific, right? But then trade management also gets to have rules. Say you get to your first target, then you want to snug up your stop, something like that. So you can, no interference. Basically, that means like you don't want to like get in for higher leverage or give yourself bigger stop than you originally set. Don't make the trade more risky once you're in it. But you can manage it per your strategy. Again, this is a software setup too. That when you see, XYZ, maybe it is your first target as gets hit, then you do get to scale your stop, or you get past a certain level, like Matt, you trail it on the 9 moving average. You get to manage it per your system. So that is not necessarily interference. That's managing your code. So trusting the system that you built, honoring the system that you built, believing that the work you've done on the back end to write it down and be specific about it means that you believe in that system and it has a higher expectancy of profit. And so then you want to actually execute it. That's where it comes in, with actually executing it. I don't think that when it comes that voice, I think this is a killer. I don't think at it when it comes to market. We can get into trouble all the time of like considering how to do things differently and like forgetting our code. So that's tricky. And then at the end of like executing on your setup, pay attention to what the output was. So review and refine. This is how your code gets better. So like I said before, you don't want to change your software or your strategy mid-session because you are at risk of tilting and getting emotional about it by trying to monkey with it in the moment. However, definitely always at least think through. If you're uncomfortable, you don't make time, you're not into journaling, maybe think about that. We've talked about that. There's some psychology classes on that. But if you do journal, please do. But no matter what, log your output in some capacity, even just thinking about it, and say, this setup was really great. This setup worked this way. I only got to first target. I should have taken it all there, blah, blah, blah. Deal with your data. Was it good for my strategy? Should I change it? Am I consistently seeing that I always get target 1 and not T2 or T3? And so maybe I just need to take everything out at T1 and recognize the market conditions are such that we are really bouncy. And so, taking bites and then managing it differently will work based on your data, based on what you're seeing, what your output is telling you. That is when, after the trading session, when your output has been locked into place, then you can take that and decide whether or not you want to change your code, change your software, change your strategy. And then you write it down. You make the changes, you make the notations, and then you try it that way for a week or two. And then you think, this is better, this is worse. Modify from there. Ask a coach. Do back testing on the weekend, because you say, I was doing it this way for a long time. I had this idea. I've tried it a little bit. It seems to be good. I'm going to back test and try and shore this up. Maybe this needs to be my new code. And that will give you more reassurance on how you can actually stick with it over time. So you don't think, I just wait for the setup and prove that it will work and have a stop loss to protect myself. That is more variable. You can do that when you're refining your system, though. If you say, I want to know, maybe this one didn't work, but the next one will. If it's a part of your strategy to see, what level might hold, maybe it's a view up hold or what have you. If you have a system around something and the first one is stopped out, you can continue to trade. I would say if you're still logical and you still see your setup, you're within your risk parameters, you haven't maxed out your losses for the day. If you see a setup, I think we can take more than one trade a day. But the key would be, do you have a strategy and a software behind it that says this is a long, we get in this way? That will make your stats so much more consistent by not executing just when you think you see something holding, but instead kind of really being more specific in what you need to see at what level. It helps me. Yeah, there we go. So I think this is like the hard part of where you're at in this scope of things. So like, in your last trade where you broke your rules, what triggered it? Are you a boredom trader, a FOMO trader, revenge, overconfidence? If you're up for it, you could let us know. What does that look like for you? What is your biggest cinch point, I guess, in terms of when you break your rules? Because you want to reframe it. You want to be able to say, when I sit at my computer for 4 hours, I just throw trades on. You got to do something with that. Like that needs to be an area that you say, I now am aware that I am a boredom trader and I'll throw good money after bad and I'll get upside down in a trade. Similar with revenge trading. If you take one stop out and you're like real mad and you really want to win and you're going to fight the market until she makes you green, let's see if we can reframe that. So what is the situation? Is it revenge? Let's go with that one because I have done that. So you take your first stop out, right? And you really thought the trade was good or you wouldn't have got into it. You take the trade and it comes and takes you out for a good hit. That was a trigger for you to want to break your rules. And in that day, let's say bad cop, you succumbed to revenge trading and you effed around and found out and you fought back with the market and you started trading emotionally. Maybe you leveraged up to make it back quicker. You blew the account that day. So revenge trading after a loss that you were not interested in taking. That's the emotion. Was your old code running? So remember we talked in the beginning about a lot of us have a subconscious code that is our software where, there's a lack potentially or a sense of unworthiness or fear or anxiety or needing to lock it in now because your, spouse is going to get mad at you again. Is that where you slid to so fast? Is that your underlying subconscious code that you did not code in there, but is still hanging around? Because then you need to decide, I got to trim that. Boredom session. Yeah. It happens when you're sitting at your computer, just FOMO, missing trades, just a lack of confidence, not sizing correctly, then over trading. Yeah. Those are very, very key ones. So I want us all to think about how we can reframe those. So when one of those comes up for you, such as like, if I will say boredom or when I'm at my charts, you guys know this about me if you've streamed with me a little bit. Sometimes I'm like, well, we're here and this level could hold. And so sometimes I'll take trades that I wouldn't necessarily be called to if I wasn't at my office necessarily. And so for that, whatever it is, you want to reframe it. You want to say, what could it be inside my software that had me interested in this? Is it because, I'm anxious about, the bills coming at the end of this month or whatever. So then we want to rewrite that and no, this was a risk point for me. And it went from not great to worse fast. What can I insert into there? What can I put a part of my software? And it doesn't have to be necessarily the coding in terms of executing a trade, but it can be after a loss. I need to leave my office for 5 minutes. I need to take a little break, a little walk, get some water, get some coffee, touch the grass for a hot second in your yard or on your sidewalk, and then come back in. And usually that will kind of break the trance a little bit and be like, my new software says that I needed to take a moment of a break to make sure I'm still steady. And so in that situation, you're changing your software in terms of your physical activity during the moment and what you do about it. And I think that whatever you're succumbing to that you don't want to, that's getting you negative results, take it as a signal of it's an area within your trade strategy approach to professional trading that you need to make a plan for. And then you need to try and honor it every day. Just try for a week, try for a day. Say, today I am, like AA, one day at a time kind of energy. If I take a loss, at least today, I'm going to promise myself that I will get up and take a quick walk before I come back in and see what the market is doing. And just do it piece by piece. If it's a really ingrained software that you struggle with for a very long time, it's going to be harder to break. But just take it one trade at a time, one session at a time. Say, I don't have to be perfect this whole month. Today, if this trigger for me happens, then I'm going to take my walk or do some deep breathing or go to the bathroom and fill my water if that is just enough to break you out of it. Emotion, quite random. Yeah. Good that you don't usually do that. So this is our rewriting the code, right? So mental reprogramming is repetition over time, the same way a computer is updated through consistent intentional inputs, not one dramatic reboot. So let this take time, which is another important concept in psychology growth of let it take time. So, you shouldn't just on the fly be like, well, this trade didn't work. So clearly my strategy is stupid and I don't like it. And so now I'm going to only do blah, blah, blah. And so just making these rapid changes without having back tested data, without watching them over time, without forward testing them with light size, what have you, causes bigger swings. But instead, try and steadily change it. Ask questions of your coaches, like write it in, back test it on the weekend, which I know some of us are really good at. And so like in the morning, review your playbook, This is something that helps me even still to review my strategy book. And I reread it over the weekend this weekend of like, and I thought about it when I was, it's funny because when I was writing this presentation on the weekend, I reread my strategy playbook to see if I could update it. And I actually really like it. I was like, I think it's a great reminder. And so reread them, sometimes reread them out loud because they can be really encouraging, and then state your intention for your session. And if it's still really new for you that you wrote it, reread it right before your trading session every day for a while, because then it puts it right in the forefront of your mind of, I like to see these 4 things at my level, and then this is how I get in. Having that right there, right at the quickest, most recent thing, you'll be more effective at honoring it. Pre-trade is that hardware check-in. Am I rested and calm and focused and undistracted so that I can follow my rules today? Have that little conversation with you before you start putting risk on, because you don't have to trade every day to be a profitable trader. And in fact, if something is not great on the back end, that's a risky situation in order to trade. And then during your session, execute only when the system says. So pause before you want to override something. So if you are saying, I don't have a strategy for this, but I really want to trade, I've got 20 minutes left, I think it's doing this, try to make sure you're pausing and be like, I think it's doing this, and recognize that that's a risky approach. And you really need to lock into, how strongly do you think, and is it really worth your risk in your accounts to do that? Or can you just come back tomorrow if you're not seeing a great setup and you only have 20 minutes left? Maybe that just means today's not the day. And having that little pause in there of saying, Coach Becky said, if it's not written in my plan, it's not a great setup. Is it worth my risk? And then post session, this is how you revise your software and adjust it as needed, update it as needed, is when you are journaling and managing every trade, taking in your output. Did I follow my code? What triggered any deviation? And noting that too. Did I engage in some revenge behavior? And I took my trade from green to neutral to red because I wasn't happy with the green, and I traded one more time and it was stopped out. Now I was real pissed off and I want to get back to green. And so then I made it from worse. That's something to note and say, what can I do to stop that? Either the green was green enough and I should have stopped, or on the second try it was stopped out and took back my green, then I should have stopped because that was a big trigger for me. So have those moments with yourself where you're facing the music kind of. And then a weekly review is an awesome opportunity to review your strategy. You don't necessarily have to review your software every week. More so try to honor it during your trade sessions, and then analyze your pattern and what you're going through on an off time, either in the evenings or on the weekends where you are not having the emotions of having a risk trade on, but instead you are fresh and you're objective and you're able to really say, I did these things great. I want to lean into that. And I still succumbed to this on 2 of the days. I need to make sure I'm having something in place that helps me not do this more often. So I think we are the system. The most powerful trading technology you will ever use is the one sitting between your ears. Invest in it with the same rigor you bring to your charts. Okay. So having a trade system, having accounts, having whoever mentor you're listening to, having whatever signals, whatever, the most powerful trading technology is your mind. Like, that is the crux of whether or not you make it in this business. So dialing it in and taking that seriously and recognizing I need to keep my hardware sharp and up to date and giving what it needs in terms of sleep and nutrition and stamina so that it can do this very challenging work of being a consistently profitable trader. And then knowing that the software is also important, because your output should reflect your input, which should be written out and understood and back tested and have some validity to it. So that risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Warren Buffett agrees with me. I'm just saying, he got that from me, where you have to know what you're doing in order to execute with a higher chance, a higher probability of success. So know your system, know yourself. That is what really gets you the trading career. Thanks, Paul. Aw, and Fatima. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I love doing these. So, are making me a better trader. So thanks for that. Okay, here's our commitments to ourselves. You don't have to affirm it in the chat if you don't want to, but just be with me on this. Rewrite, refine your playbook this week. This weekend in the evenings, specific entry stop targets, no trade rules, trade management, write it down. That way you have less ambiguity each week and you have a document, a working document to fine tune if this is a new concept for you. Have it somewhere so that you can have, it's stable, like if you're on rocky ground and it's uneven and you don't know what's going to hold and what's going to fail, starting to write out your software, your strategy, steadies the ground. Like you are standing on a platform where you understand where you're going and what it might look like to get there and what the risk is. You will be able to manage your emotions more levelly having this written out. And then have the hardware habits in terms of sleep and your environment and your morning routine. Figure out what sets you up for the best level of success. And then if you truly want to be a professional trader, you got to honor it. You got to say, I'm not trading if I don't get sleep, and I need to at least take breaks every hour or two to make sure I, use the bathroom, eat a little protein, drink some water. And then I highly encourage you guys to journal in whatever platform or vein you want to, because that information on what is working and what isn't is how you get better over time, how you personalize your strategy book and say, this was working, this isn't working, this is how I want to update it. So I never know where the last slide is. I need to make notes for myself. But the consistently profitable trader that you are becoming is already inside of you. You just need the right code installed and the right hardware maintained and the discipline to run the program every day. I believe that for us. I believe that the right trader, the strong, consistently profitable trader is in us, because you don't come to psychology classes if this is not who you are. You don't care about this crap. You want to go to the flashy one on YouTube that says, this is my strategy that made me $5 million in 2 months. And you want to copy down the notes from that guy's YouTube and you want to try and copy it to the best of your ability. That's where you go when you are just hunting the quick money. My class is where you go when you need to transform into a consistently profitable trader who's going to be 7 figures in a matter of, years. But you recognize that you have to change and shore up your body and change into the person who honors the software that they wrote and they understand inside and out. And I don't think none of us are starting from zero. You're updating continuously. You're taking in more input and you're fine tuning and you're modifying and you're getting stronger and more stable as you go. It's not about being right or wrong, but how much you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. We got to control the downside. And this is a way of doing that. This is a way of prioritizing wanting to have a solid strategy and then always operating on it. And by saying to yourself, this is what I need to do in real time to get the outputs that I want. So I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to track it, and then I'm going to journal and improve over time. And maybe you commit to someone, your accountability partner or a small group, that you're going to do X, Y, Z. The results come. Like the P&L is lagging because this is real work. Like becoming a profitable trader is real work, but it's worth it. Who doesn't want to make money from trading? We're all here because we want that P&L, but there's work involved, so what I got. Thank you guys for being here. There's so much hope to be had, Mary. I believe in all of us. And I think that you guys should believe in yourselves and think about how, you have learned a tremendous about wherever you're at in your trading career, and there's more to learn. So do this, write out your strategy, refine time, and show up every morning with your best setup to execute it. I believe in us. I believe in you. That's all I got for Trading Psychology Lab today, you guys. If you guys ever have questions, comments, requests, I am fully available to requests. So you guys can, there's a suggestion section within them, and I watch that. I make notes on all of it. I structure what I'm going to talk to you guys about. And then we go live every Tuesday at 2. For Psychology Lab, Technical Lab is Thursdays at 2. And if you guys are working on your playbook, please bring those to anything, but especially to the Technology Lab, because technical, because you can ask questions there that will really help shore up your strategy. And there are so many resources here at BluSky, and we're here for you guys. So please hit us up. Any of the coaches, any of the sessions in the Discord, we are here for you guys. And truly just want us all to become profitable traders at BluSky. So, thanks, guys. Thank you, Fatima, Mary, Tina, Naz, Matt, Paul. Amara was in here. Thank you guys for being here with me. Now it is almost power hour. I'm going to take a quick pause out, and then we're going to loop back into the charts, figure out what the market is doing, if we're still pushing up or if we're fading. Let's see what we can see in power hour, you guys. I will be back in just a minute with the excellent Coach Matt. See you guys in a few.
God TV. This is the Power Hour, and I got the amazing, just absolutely, just tremendously talented psychologist, mindset expert, and quite frankly, one of the better traders I know. Coach Becky here to hang out with me during Power Hour today, and we're going to get right into it. Becky, Bulls coming through here today so far. Really important bullish move here today on the longer term charts. My goodness, we were testing some very, very interesting support levels just yesterday, but bulls stepping up, coming throughout the trading session here today. What's your thoughts on the technical side as we're seeing a little bit of hesitation coming into Power Hour?
Yeah, this was a very interesting day for me. I was so curious about literally when so first thing I wake up, I try to do this gratitude thing, and then I think about what the market's going to do. And I was like, oh my God, we had this big old gap up overnight. And so then I'm like, okay, so big gap. Now we're in the upper areas. What's it going to do? But I loved the setup. I loved how in the morning we pulled back down to this was the value area high of yesterday, this purple line here, and this blue curve line was VWAP. And so this was just a beautiful example of when the market was bullish, it gave a retracement to a key level for multiple reasons. This was some resistance became support overnight. This was the high of the consolidation of yesterday and then VWAP. So this bulls are continuing to own. They showed up overnight. They held the game today after a nice pullback at open. So I definitely am seeing bulls across the board here. I don't have a trade on right now because I was, in
I'm
psychology.
flat on the indexes right now. I do have a trade going on gold right now that I literally just got into 10 minutes ago. We can talk about it here in a second, but continue your thoughts on your technical thoughts on the indexes.
Okay. I like the bulls. I think the bulls are owning this. I think it's an interesting liquidity grab. I think this was the sweep low of Friday. And then yesterday tried and had a lot of bearish presence, but the bulls are here. And so this is very interesting. Took out this level on the NASDAQ and we've turned. I know we have some very interesting earnings coming at us, which is another reason why we could see some
Google,
bullish moves.
ServiceNow,
Yeah.
Texas
Biggies.
Instruments, all Tesla, all tomorrow.
I was
Tomorrow
wondering.
afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, so thinking about that, thinking about you, is I was like wondering if we'll have a tight day today again, and then it will take off. But that gave me bullish vibes for the week, and I think that we're sort of seeing some of that front running today. Of like this was a key area of support on the Nasdaq, and the
Mhm.
bulls are defending it. And I think ES also was at a beautiful resistance point of basically this area retested right there.
Mhm.
And it's turning too. So I definitely see the bullish move on both indices today. And I think that this could be another key pivot and we could continue higher on these indices is what I'm seeing.
Well, and I certainly am. I'm happy for the bulls today. There are some interesting support levels on the Nasdaq and the ES on the longer term charts. That if we would have had the exact opposite bear day today, we'd be talking about a violation of trend pattern support and obviously volatility. So good to see the bulls kind of hold firm there today and fight back inside those daily and maintain those weekly patterns and whatnot. As you see the market right now coming into Power Hour, we're obviously seeing a little bit of slowing momentum against that upward movement in price we saw during the cash open. Um, is this when as you're looking at this, I think we can both agree that bulls control the pricing on the day, but an interesting fade setup maybe coming into Power Hour.
I'm seeing fade, honestly. Like this was a beautiful move after the first pullback, beautiful move. This is a key area of resistance, this purple area here on ES, and it is not breaking it. It's holding and losing and weakening underneath of it. So I see a fade there and similar on NASDAQ, honestly, also. So I think honestly we could be seeing a trade right now. This is MNQ.
Yeah, I'm looking at NQ and the ES right now.
They both did this little really flattened head and shoulder where they tried to break hard and they couldn't. And now we're fading. And now we're right there at
I
this.
kind of feel Nasdaq wants to test lower here.
I do too. I think
It
we
feels like
just got
Nasdaq
underneath of
wants
this.
to test like the 260 area.
Yeah, I'm so curious if it wants to come back down to this level here. So we just broke
First
that.
time, Becky, that we've given up the 90 EMA on the 5 minute, given up the 90 EMA on the 15 minute. And when you give up that 90, after you have trended and you give up that 90 EMA on the 15-minute time frame, it takes a minute for it to like reset up, honestly. I
Yeah.
like the fade here. I
Yeah.
like that call out, Vaughn.
Yeah.
260, like
It's happening. All right,
I
how are
think
we
we're
gonna
I
get
think
this
we're
one?
all kind of seeing the same thing here.
Okay. We're
I
gonna
think
try.
you can just structure it underneath the low, honestly.
Yeah, it's bouncing right now. I wonder if I can't get a fill, like kind of right around this break.
Like, I think if you can get it closest to that 9 EMA, that's the cheapest risk you can get, or if you want to get the continuation right underneath the low.
I put a little bit here at the break because it's hesitating here. I'm gonna put my stop above this last pivot, which is
I'm a little bit under you. I am right now underneath the low, but I will just market order if we bounce off the 9.
yeah. I did a join ask, but right here along the break here, and then I think this is the resistance here on Qs is that 337 is my risk. And if it comes back up here a little bit, but holds the 9, then I could add a little bit more size. If it just starts sinking, I don't know if I'll have time, but then I like this pivot right here because this was the value area low that we're trading within, and this is the
That's
pivot
the
that
exact that's the exact pivot I'm targeting to.
yep.
I'm not in yet though. Like, my order's underneath the low of that candle.
Yeah. This looks like a good potential opportunity.
Yeah,
341.
I'd love to get in with a limit or a market right at the 9 EMA if I'm doing something aggressive like this,
Mhm.
or like I love underneath the low of the candle to get that continuation sell off. And so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it takes a low of the 1230 candle. Target is LVA. Yeah, this is LVA is like this purple line, Fatima, which is my target too. And there's a pivot area here just above it. So there's going to be some liquidity in this whole area here, which was the breakout retest. And that if
Mhm.
we could sink back down to it. I do think there's stops all in here, Vodka. He's got a great point. What'd you say? 341.50, which is right in this candle here. Which,
Right there,
the
they'll be
market's
right above the 9 EMA.
bullish. Yeah. So I'm very, the market is bullish, but I think we're losing strength here. I think this would be the ultimate pivot that I should be hiding behind and knowing that I want to add. But this is 3 bars on the 15. So that's kind of a good amount of distance. I might rather just get taken out and then consider a reentry if I get taken out. Consider another trade.
And I just see this as a level to level play.
Yeah.
Violate the low point is support on the candle. Violate the low point, you're going to go down to the next low point. It's I do not like to overcomplicate support breaks. When support breaks, the general philosophy is it goes down to the next level of support.
Yeah.
You can debate it, discuss it, but it's a high probability. If we're sitting on floor 3 in a hotel and floor 3 ceases to exist, I promise you we're going down to floor 2. That's kind of the difficulty of understanding a support violation.
Yeah.
And so we can overcomplicate it with all these different day trading type of things, or we can make it simple and just say support. If support violates, it's going to the next support level.
Yeah. Yeah, I love vodka's targets too. I think we're all seeing the same thing, 260 and 246 for the runner. 246 is my purple level here for the target, ultimate target as well. And it even could go lower than that. But I feel like ES and NASDAQ like to hit the liquidity of this. There's going to be stops right on the other side of these pivots here. So that's why I'd want to get my fill there.
Um,
4 hour
Yeah,
chart.
240. I certainly see the old resistance pivot there. There's a minor resistance level there. I don't have any heartburn targeting that, but I'm to me, this is a 260 to 200 conversation.
Mhm.
Like for me, and this is just me technically, but if I have let's say a 60 point T1, and then I'm just going to look at a 13 point T2, like on legitimately on the 15-minute time frame, that's the exact same zone. And
Yeah.
so I like to open it up T2. If you're going to catch a runner, catch a runner. Like, allow that thing to run, not take 2 steps.
Yeah. It's a great point.
I'm not disagreeing with the 243 call out. I definitely see it. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to keep a runner, keep a runner.
Let it run. Yeah.
Yeah. What Forrest do? Forrest wanted to run, let him run.
It's interesting. This level is having a little discussion about it because this was,
Support
this
level.
was the resistance earlier. It broke through. It is important. Yeah, it could do a little retracement here, in which case it's going to throw us red for a minute. But also the point of power hour, right, is it's a unique time in the session where there really only is 45 more minutes. And so if we're going to fall, like it can't spend forever dinking around. Either it's going to work or it's not. So
It can dance a little bit here, but
Yeah.
I am with you.
This is interestingly the initial balance high as well, right along that very low. And so there's more confluences here as well of this pivot. And then this was the high of the morning session that we broke out of and retested. So I do like that target down there. We'll just see if it will be expeditious about it or if it's going to dink around and hold in the upper bands. But I see too much loss of momentum to try and chase more upside at this point, especially knowing tomorrow is when news comes in. So we don't want to see like the most massive day ever. I don't know.
I don't know if this bear trade is going to work out, but I don't, I'm not regretting putting this order in. Like, I'm not in yet,
Yeah.
but I don't see a bull trade here unless you're talking about a breakout of those of those upper levels, and that's just not going to happen in the time frame that we have. And
Yeah.
so,
I mean,
like, this is the trade I think you have is on the short side, and one of the reasons why we're dancing here is there's a $300 significant whole number right there. And
yeah.
so, like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted my order under the candle low.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting point. And there could be a bull trade to take out this pivot at the top here too, and then it could sink too. We've seen that before, where it's just dancing. It's going basically like a bull flag, and we're at the lower end of it. In which case, there could be a move to retest the high of it here too. And so I don't want to take that whole risk and put it above here just to get kissed out at the top. I'd rather take just this 15-minute candle here. In terms
And I definitely see the bull flag, but with the slowing momentum, like bull flags are momentum patterns with the slowing momentum in the trend, and then you're talking about a momentum pattern underneath it. It's a tough
yeah,
ask. It's just a tough ask for the bulls. For the bulls, it is. That's why
yeah,
I still like the bear trade. Like,
I do too. I have not seen enough reason and justification to add more size, though, to be honest. Like, I had a good morning,
oh
and so I'm just gonna
no, let it play out.
light it. Yeah. You think they'll close the 4 hours doji? It doesn't look like a doji right now. You see this 4 hour, my girl? Oh, I was thinking about this one. Oh, they could close as a doji. But this one's only like less than half baked. Only started an hour and 20
Yeah,
minutes ago.
I'd say we got some distance on that one, but
Mhm.
how I would describe that is high end side, and if it develops like that high end side, that's a positive situation for the Bulls.
Yeah.
If the Bears can't lock in, or if the Bulls don't even want to lock in 50% of that pump, like Bulls are like, we're here.
Look at this area on this larger time frame. Like this is a key area for it to retest because this was a big breakdown. Well, this was where the structure break was when this smashed through this support that held here briefly, smashed through it. Now we're at it right now, basically, is this breakthrough. So this could be some rejection here in terms of retesting this breakdown spot, which is a vote for the Bears, in my opinion.
Well, and the Bulls are fighting that same overhead from Monday as well,
Mm-hmm.
around the 75-51 area. That's a lot of it's just a lot of resistance. Like, those aren't small resistance levels intraday on the top side. And so
Yeah.
it's just a lot to ask the market this late in the market after running as much as it has today to break through those resistance areas and capture more momentum when we haven't had a sniff of momentum on the bull side in 2 hours. Like, I still like the short here. I want to let it play out.
Yeah. I pulled up
By the way, it's
ES.
still not in. It's still just hanging, dancing,
I like the look of it. Wait and see. I like it. This is ES just to see what's going on the other.
Yeah,
It's
by the
holding
way,
up
the only
too.
thing we're doing is saying market's gonna pull back against the hourly and the 30-minute chart, and we're just trading that pullback.
Mm-hmm. ES was stronger this morning. The pullback didn't go as deep and it popped faster. I don't know if you saw that, but ES was stronger than NQ this morning. They both fizzled out in a pretty similar consistency here, though. So,
Yeah, there was a couple of earnings reports that helped the Dow.
you want to tell us about it?
On the earnings side of the equation,
Hmm.
why we let this play through, yeah, I'll talk about a couple of earnings reports here today. I thought GM, that was one of the ones I was thinking about when I made that comment on those cyclical areas. I thought GM had a good report today. GM beat by 14% on the EPS. Revenue was up 2% year over year, which is paltry. Nobody cares about that number. But on the guidance, they actually increased guidance by 4% from the midpoint. So I thought they had a pretty decent report. They have an interesting technical setup right around $80 to $85 as well. I also thought 3M had a decent report. They increased guidance by 3%. Northrop also increased guidance, but had a mixed report. They gapped down though, and but then got gobbled up. Still Dynamics had a decent report, but they were just like a standard EPS revenue beat. There was no guidance there. Danaher I thought was kind of a weaker report. Halliburton I thought was a weaker report. And Ally Financial was one of the only misses we've seen in the year so far. They actually had a miss of about 4% against EPS expectation. And so Ally Financial was a little bit of a negative on the financial space, but in general, couple interesting names on the cyclical side, like General Motors, increasing guidance certainly helped the ES and the Dow Jones today.
Yeah. I mean, you've been calling out for a while that it should be a positive, another positive earnings season. And so this slide down into the start of earnings season is a good look for the bulls.
Yeah, vodka.
Gold.
Gold looks fantastic. Like I love what today's candle on gold, honestly. Gold, the battle at 4K will be known for gold people as the battle at the OK Corral. It's been a major battle, and we haven't won it yet. But it is a really good day for gold. And by the way, I'd say the same thing about crypto. I'd say the same thing about silver. And the craziest part is we're not seeing the dollar down on that move. We're seeing gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all anchored to the dollar, all take their cues from the dollar, all are going through reversal analysis right now. And the dollar's actually confirming a breakout. And yet we have gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all up fairly decent here today. Really does stand out to me. Really stands out to me. It's the first time that the bulls, like I felt like the bulls we're not just here, but we're sick of the bears, and that got me excitable.
Yeah. Silver looks good. They look good.
It's honestly the best of the daily charts. Silver's got some catch up to do, but
Are you worried about this?
I'm
60?
worried about a lot of things. Yes, I am not there yet on gold. I am just so impressed by the battle, but you gotta win the battle. And gold doesn't win the ultimate battle. Like there's a couple pockets ultimately on gold reversal. It goes from 41 to 42. So if you get above 41, there is a pocket there on gold analysis that goes from 41 to 42. And so 41 to 42 is a really big pocket there. And then there's a massive pocket between 42 and 44. And so deep respect for the reversal it's putting in, deep respect for navigating it. This is the first day we've gotten above the 90 MA on the daily chart in 7 days. This is the first day we've gotten above the 20 SMA on the daily chart in about a month. It's the first day that the bulls have really told the bears, stop messing around.
So
This is a warning.
On the hourly, it did lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And so to break that trend, we need to break this level on gold.
That's the 4100 zone battle.
Yeah.
It's the wick goes up to like 12.
Yep, 12.
And so it starts at 41. Top level of that resistance is 4112.
Okay.
But this is the best look it's had going into it because the last time we were testing 41, it was after a parabolic move last Tuesday. And it was just skyrocketing into it. This one has a much better foundation. It's a little bit slower. And in reversal analysis, time is on the side of the reversal. And so the more time you get in reversal, usually the better the overall reversal is. And that is certainly the case here. Like when you do a deep technical dive on gold, the quality of the reversal at this point versus where we were a week ago is far superior today.
Yeah, it's like
So
developed.
still has to finish the job. Jesse Livermore's in my head right now saying confirmation is the insurance. You're right on your projection. Um, Gold for 4 straight months has been a covered call area of the market for me. And I will start alleviating that if gold gets above 4,100.
Beautiful.
I won't be covered if gold gets above 4,200. I'll open it up and
Let
see
it
what we
run.
can get. Uh-huh.
Okay. I can't wait.
But I'm also looking forward to day trading the 4,100 to 4,200 zone too.
Yeah.
Like it's a good pocket with not a lot of pivots in there.
This is beautiful view I hold. What time was that? That was at market open. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look.
Like a
Dang.
boss. Yeah, I actually think the best reversal that's played out in the market in the last 3 weeks, I would actually say it's Ethereum. I
Oh
think
yeah, we talked about that.
I've asked Ethereum to do things for about a month and a half now, and every time I've asked it to do something, it has listened.
Ooh.
Like, slow its momentum, double bottom, work to the double
Ah,
top, short ports going into resistance. It's a very compelling technical story on the daily chart, and it's like if you're looking at ETHA, the level's 15 on ETHA, where it does open up to 18.
mhm.
So just keep in mind on that, but it's a good reversal playing out on Ethereum
Yeah.
right now.
That break on July 14th, pull back to Friday,
Mhm.
bulls this week.
It's very
That's like
consistent.
inverse head and shoulder too,
All
right?
right, Becky, I'll give you brownie points if you can point to the first candle that I started front running this reversal.
Oh god, brownie points.
Mhm.
Shoot, I don't know if I know you that well, but was it here?
That was the first one.
Brownie points. Okay.
The flag increase in
Right here.
support going
Yeah,
into a horizontal resistance is
sure.
one of my favorite patterns, and that's where I added my partial, and I
Mhm.
have not added my second yet. I'm
Yeah.
I'm actually waiting for the longer term break of 15 to 18. So I feel comfortable with the partial here, but yeah, that was the candle. It was on the daily chart sniffing the 9 EMA, and I'm like, okay, time to partial this bad boy up.
I like that entry spot too, because I'm like thinking, okay, what would I do? Like I need to show a strength of strength. You need to see a pullback and you see a break upward. That's this one. I like
Mhm.
it.
Becky, you are now officially a Matt whisperer, and I don't know if that's a positive thing.
Well, I have literally been studying the market almost daily for 5.5 years. So I guess something's got to get stuck in there. And you and I are, you were getting that
We've
Jedi
had a
mind.
lot of technical conversations together, but that was the candle that I added my
Thanks, Gabby.
I felt like we had the doji the day before,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
after a little bit of
Just
momentum,
good
kind
volume
of
too.
slowed that down, and it was right underneath the resistance, and so I was doing it without confirmation. That's why it's called a front run.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I love the thing. And honestly, my worry, it didn't manifest. Like it's been very clean ever since. But my worry at the time was, what if this thing just pumps 10% on a breakout? I wanted to have a partial going into that
Yeah.
breakout attempt. And it
Yeah.
didn't. It was just clean on the breakout, and we haven't seen expansion, but you can thank the geopolitical crisis last Friday for that.
Cheers to that all the time. It's a special part of our lives.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if everybody's like this, but I kind of feel like everybody's kind of like, let's find some resolution to that as soon as humanly possible, please.
Please. All right, this door is working out.
Which means,
I didn't get my ad up here on the retracement. Fatima called it out, but
yeah, I triggered.
hey, you got triggered in?
Definitely triggered.
Yeah.
All right, now what do we
Are
want to
you
do
ES
here?
or NQ?
No, I did NQ.
Mm-hmm. It
I,
looks better.
I,
ES is a
I
little
like the
stronger.
one on the NQ a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am just gonna play a tight stop though. Like I don't have
Yeah.
a lot of trust. There's not a lot of time.
Or you can do the candle that broke it. This one from 12:15. Now I got
Uh,
another 15-minute candle.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ride 9 on a 5. If it breaks back up, I'll get stopped out.
Oh, yeah, it's already 12:30. It's already a 3:30, whatever the hell Eastern time is.
We got 20 minutes to make this move. So
20 minutes long now.
yeah, vodka. I kind of feel the same. I kind of feel the same.
Oh, I just messed up my level. I hate when I grab a line. Where was that at? I was at 20. Ugh.
But I also don't day trade crypto. I'm doing more of a position trade on it. Don't you break down and fake out here.
I know.
Wouldn't it be shocking?
He's
We are
testing the break.
here.
He's testing the break.
Just testy. Just testy.
Yeah.
Just testy.
That was a good break. That was clean.
It was clean. It was a good candle and increase in volume too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
All right, team. Gotta let us know who's joining Becky and myself on this.
I'm going to add one more on this retracement right now. And then I'm going to snug my stop on the 15. I didn't take on any increased risk, but I did add just a little.
Where's your stop?
Well, it was at 337 on the last 15 minutes ago, but now I'm going to bring it down on the body of the last 15 to that 329.
I'm at 3.8.
It's like on 5. You're at 3?
318.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is a 9 rider for me. If it doesn't want to ride the 9, I don't want to ride with it.
We don't have much time, and it could easily go back up and take us out and chop this. So, like, that's the question too of like, what kind of risk are we willing to and be involved in?
I think both of us have the exact same opinion on this.
Yeah.
Like slight edge, not a lot of time. Trust the 9, and that's about the only trust you get.
Yeah, I mean, we're currently in a downtrend after we lost momentum and we started breaking structure down. So that's the direction that has the slightly higher confidence right now. However, the day is bullish if you look on the larger time frames. But we encountered resistance and we're getting pushed back, and now we're almost out of time. So this is let's see what she does. I like this level. I like the break of.
Oh, it's a good level, and there's a good battle going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the retest makes sense too, right? When it breaks, it retests. Like we just saw that on the Ethereum. You know, it broke above nicely. It did a retest, and now it seems to be holding. So, break and retest is a very real thing.
It's actually kind of base case. Technically, like that's what you expect.
Yeah.
You also expect to get a little bit more expansion on the breakdown. You don't typically like to see a battle at resistance 1 candle after the breakdown. You'd like to see 2-3 candle expansion before that, but
yeah, these bulls honestly right now are a bit aggressive.
You don't get to choose what that happens. All you got to do is choose the level you feel comfortable making the trade at. It is just a battling that 9 EMA. My goodness.
1 candle after another. Yep. Yes, looks like it's encountering more fading here as well, but it is holding up a little stronger, like we talked about. They haven't broke their low yet, but they're not breaking highs. They're looking weakening as well.
And this thing has hugged the 9 EMA for 20 straight minutes.
Do you see ES? Is that what you're looking at?
No, I'm looking at the NASDAQ right now, but I'm certain it's dancing the 9 EMA as well.
ES is way tighter. It's like literally just on it.
Top bodies underneath.
It just died. It laid down on the EMA bed and died.
Yeah. It's like, we don't know anymore, guys. We're literally pegged.
We done. Maybe if I talk smack about her, like giving it up, she'll move.
All right, this is the candle that we get stopped out, or are we going to move, in my opinion?
Oh, if I pull it up, then I got to look. Oh, that's right. I'm entry. That's fine. I was at it for a long time earlier. I'm gonna trust my stop. Mine's at 29.
Yeah, it came up and said hello to my stop. You gonna take the L here, Justice? You gonna do this?
He's right on it.
I see it's doing it. Yeah. Yeah,
Tight
yeah, yeah,
wrist.
yeah.
What's the reason?
It's gonna have to reset up then at this point.
Yeah.
Ow! Becky took it the L.
Come on, market. You gave us a break.
At this point now, we're gonna chop.
Yeah.
Just oh man, one bar breakdowns without follow through, and you beg that next candle.
Yeah. There's mine.
I think I just did. I think I just did beg that next candle, and it did not listen to me, Becky.
Yeah. Must not go above 12:30. You must be talking Eastern time. We're talking 12:30, 3:30.
No, I think they were talking about that candle that it just went back up above, and when it did, that's where our stop losses were.
Yeah.
I think Tam was saying the exact same thing. I think Tam was begging for it not to go up the same way you and I were begging for it not to go up. Like, no.
Come on. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, interesting. We out was stab. It broke structure on 15 just now, which is where my stop was based on. But this on the 15 is now retesting that EMA break.
Oh, yeah, pulled back, got gobbled up.
Yeah. Gobble up fast. The bears were drifting. The bulls are putting some pressure on it. So it could come up here to the highs and run the highs here.
We're just going to run out of time.
Yeah. Yeah, it pushed here throughout most of the day, right? It was a pullback to key level and then a push and then a loss of momentum slide. And now we're pushing again. So it could pump the highs here.
Yeah, there's nothing I regret about that trade, by the way. I thought it was a good trade structure. Just, we were going against trend.
Let's see what gold.
Trading the fade. And the fade did not work out.
No, the fade didn't work out. The fade. Yeah.
We might have something going into imbalances, but
yeah. I'm glad I didn't add full size. All right, so we see what this candle does. This is the 15-minute right now. It is bullish engulfing, but it is not closed for 7 more minutes.
I would be surprised if there's any trades up on the ES.
Yeah. Really, this is not my favorite, is when it's doing this back and forth inside of a range. With this holding, it's pushing out
very tight range too, especially on the ES. Like it's like an 8-point range right now over the last 2 hours.
Yeah, this would have been a beautiful move, but this is showing that we're just dinking around in this upper ranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, it popped down to get some more buyers. Yeah.
Agreed,
The fade is counter trend. That's the nature of the fade. And so that's a situation where you want to manage your risk tighter. For me, at least, I think for Matt too, is like
I was 10 ticks above the 9 EMA.
Yeah.
Like that's how much trust I gave that fade. I'm right there with you. There's nothing wrong counter trending and trading the fade back to the midpoint. You just got to do it with a little bit of tighter stop, lower position size. You're not dealing with an open-ended situation. You're not dealing with the trend. You're countering the trend. So you just, structure the trade so you just know what you're dealing with. Don't get me wrong. Don't like to get stopped out, but
you gotta you gotta be able to take little hits and let them run off of you, because that's the nature of the beast, of putting it on. And if it really makes you mad, then it's your size was too big.
That is accurate. That is accurate.
Yeah, girl. I thought you weren't in. You were talking about how you were waiting for things, and I love that, Fatima. Like that you had that restraint and you didn't love it, and you were watching price action and seeing what it would do. Good.
This might be the most boring dance I've seen on the ES in a 2-hour stretch in a while.
I feel like we've had some better power hours lately. We've gotten some good action here that we've liked. This one for me was not an obvious buy here. I mean, I guess it did sweep.
No, I don't think it. There's nothing on the ES, and that just pulled back to catch some buyers on the NQ.
Yeah, ES is literally a giant nothing sandwich I've ever seen right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't make too much of this end of the day pricing here. The ES is a snooze fest.
Yeah, I need to see a big candle below 307 and reverse and reject below. Yeah, well, that's see, girl. The more we trade, the more we learn things, and they refine us and teach us when we don't want to engage, which is great.
Very true, actually.
Yeah, just pushing back into the 300s here on NQ. Intense. Cheers to that. Maturity. We're maturing. Fatima and I have been trading together. Tam, her name's Fatima. We've been trading together almost our entire careers, right? We met at the first company 5 years ago. Yeah, it's been a long time. All right, so ES has got nothing, and Q is pushing back into the afternoon range and is literally square smack dab in the middle of the last afternoon 3 or 4 hour range here. So that's not cute. I don't like trading in the middle of the range because that's like Chop City. There could be a little pop up, there could be a little pop down. Right now, this is like the least appealing location ever for me without a clear plan because we tried the rejection and it didn't work. And so
See,
I
I think we should read War and Peace because that's how much trading we're going to get in the next 10 minutes.
I know. I don't think I will, Fatima, but we'll see if there's anything. We'll see if it pushes to a level and it gives a beautiful something at 10 minutes before. Maybe I'll take a small stab at something, like 3 contracts or something. We'll see. But I'm not in any kind of hurry because I did have a nice morning session and I'm not really trying to give back much more than I already did. You think Gold's got anything left? Seems like she's settling out for the afternoon as well.
Uh, no, gold's
not
not
ready
breaking
yet.
41 in the next little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Gold last 20 minutes basically says, listen, we're already asleep. Do not wake us. You could trade that base, but no.
Yeah.
Usually you don't look to, at least I don't look to like scalp gold. It's a little bit more choppy than the indexes are typically.
Yeah.
So I will be very interested in see how gold handles the 4100 test in the Asian session tonight. Like, very interested.
Yeah.
But coming into the close today, not so much.
My older child is texting me about sleepovers. Oh, summertime. Like, isn't it a work day? Does anyone else understand that it's a work day? I know that it's not school. Yeah, I'm with you on the goal that I like the opportunities earlier in the session. And sometimes if I'm paying attention before power hour, like this was kind of an interesting pivot here to like get in for the long, but it was definitely didn't hold, and during power hour, it's not giving anything on gold, like you said. Okay, we're still pumping. This is why I have a stop loss you like, because there was nothing to say that this couldn't just push against us.
Yeah, the structure of the trade was really good. Once it broke the structure, there's no trade. That's exactly where you want to get stopped out.
Yeah. That's such a great point about stop loss management. If anyone was listening to that and you don't have a dialed in system right there, like what is the structure of your trade? And if a level breaks, is your trade still on? Is the criteria that got you into the trade still present, or is it broken? In which case you shouldn't be in anymore, which was a lesson I had to learn the hard way of like hopium and hoping it would still work out even though the structure broke. But if you get logical about it, you got in based on a level and a presentation. And so if that is no longer there, then the trade is no longer there, which is
Well, and here's the reality. If you can't get a stop loss where if your stop loss hits and it breaks structure of the pattern, usually you have a timing issue on your entry. And so that kind of tells you that you don't have a good trade if you can't get your ideal stop loss. It's a gentle reminder to tell me that well, not to tell me, but to ask the question, am I chasing?
yeah. This 15-minute candle took 2 previous ones wholly, enveloped them.
And in that time frame, the ES did nothing.
Did nothing. Yeah, doing nothing.
Don't panic. Not usually.
Mary, next psych lab position sizing, techniques and science and art of scaling. Okay. I did one on scaling back in the winter. Let me look at it and either it covered it or I can get deeper into the other aspects of it. Let me look at that one and tag you. Remember that? You remember that? Let me look at it. I'm going to screenshot it right now.
I would say that's probably as much a technical lab conversation as the mindset lab.
I know. I think so too. Coach Matt. I don't know. We gotta. I don't know what you're planning. Do you have any thoughts on this Thursday, or kind of see what we got going on that day where we're at in the world on the charts?
Honestly, now that we're doing the labs during the actual trading session, everything depends on what Thursday's doing because I kind of structure my lesson around the price action that day.
Yeah.
So,
Which I love that. I think that's so applicable because it's like real time technicals.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you what I'm going to talk about Thursday yet. I can tell you Thursday morning.
Yeah. Well, let's see how that day plays out, and it's going to be good. It's going to be great. I can't wait. All right, now we're going to take back this bullish move or not, or is it going to continue? This looks strong to me, so I wouldn't be too surprised if it did take out the high, but I don't want it. So if anyone does, I mean, do your thing and manage your risk, because this is a tricky. Where do you put your risk on that either? Like this is a massive candle. Yeah. This is 15, but
I would be highly surprised if there is anything that I like good enough to make a trade between now and the close.
Yeah. But 2.5
always growing, but like it's choppy. It's lack of direction. There's no momentum.
Yeah. This could be.
This is the definition of a C- environment going into the close.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm just playing with the chart because I'm bored.
Otherwise known as convincing yourself to find a trade.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Okay. Blasted on live.
Wow. We know. You keep drawing your lines over there like you're not trying to hunt. Like somebody with a big old spotlight out in the night, and I'm like, you trying to hunt there? What? Just hanging out. Just hanging out. Giant spotlight. Yeah, okay.
Considering things for a second.
All right. Enjoy your spotlight in there. Becky's going down to a 1 minute time frame. Oh, I'm just trying to understand the environment.
And then I'm gonna throw some emojis on it too, and then I'll be fully convinced.
Do you see this shift of structure? Oh, let's go.
Yesterday, if you recall, I played imbalances and it did not work out. I thought she was going to keep pushing, and the bulls had it and they sunk it. And so I'm not trying to do that today. Maybe if it starts to move, then I'll see. But I don't want to front run imbalances today. Sometimes it works out for me, and sometimes it's more clear. Sometimes it is more clear. This one I feel like could go any kind of way right now. Although I am bearish slightly. Not that anyone needs to sell anything, but I think this pull up was a setup for the.
Well, premium would have produced today, MJ. Yeah,
that's a great point.
Or is that Gabber?
That's Gabber.
That's Gabber. I would say MJ, and then it's like, oh no, that's Gabber.
Yeah, the names are similar. Yeah. Okay, let's see what she does here. This is a very interesting level. Because I put a line there, and not that I was hunting.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I am reserve my technical thoughts on that right now.
You see how I didn't engage though? I'm sitting back. My hands are not on my mouse.
Listen, any technician can draw anything they want in the world. It does not mean it's accurate.
What you want, mama? Yeah. ES is actually looking stronger. So this is why, like, they're both just sideways and obnoxious. See that big old wick, and it's still bullish right now. So, like, for a while, this looked bearish. Yeah. There's my bears. Son of a gun.
We just got imbalances.
I know. See, yesterday I played and I was wrong. Today.
We're gonna get, yeah, and you would have been stopped out on that. Look at that thing.
Yeah, it wicked right back up.
Right back up.
Sometimes imbalances literally just cause a wick in all directions, just to F whoever's in the market.
I kind of think sometimes that occurs, yeah.
I think it does too. I feel like even if it gives you a directional move, it whips. There's a wick on both sides.
Little mini cash open where it like gives you that little full initially.
Yeah, been there.
suck you in and then just spit you out.
Yeah.
Literally on imbalances. We're inside the latest slowing momentum boring candle.
Gabber is my hero. Negative, negative. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right. What's she gonna do? I wonder if she didn't take out the low here at the end. I'm not doing it. This wick is obnoxious. This is where literally I just did a whole psych lab about having like clearly defined strategies and then executing only when they're present. And this is the absence of strategy right now. Not completely the absence. It is giving lower highs and lower lows, and it's at a lower high level. And there is the trend line, and we are showing signs of weakness, but it's not an A setup for me, but it's a B. It's a B short. Maybe it's a C.
You are the easiest grader of all time. There is not even
participation trophies.
Everything so far, the breakdown I would say is a C setup, the one that we traded and we got stuck. Everything else in the last 2 hours has been an F setup. Like there's been no momentum, like none. We can try to paint that picture. The ES is literally a 5-minute up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like the 90 MA on the 5-minute chart is just doing this number. Like if I didn't know better, I'd say this thing is on life support right now because it is flatlined.
I'm the easiest grader ever.
Beast.
I'm gonna remember that. I might have to ponder on that today. I need to be more judgy. Like don't judge people, but judge the perception more aggressively.
Just as a technician, let's be a neutral arbiter of things.
Okay. You're right. All right. All trades are losing right now. It's literally just wicks down and is doing nothing. Yeah, I know you're right.
Yeah, like this thing is legitimately a snooze fest on the ES. At least the NQ's got some movement to it.
At least she gave a wick. At least she did. She gave a little smile face. Oh man, those imbalances yesterday were real red.
Heavy lifting earlier in the session.
Yeah, Bert, yesterday when those imbalances hit, I was long. Thank God for stop losses. Well, at least we can play. Yeah, ES definitely tighter. Oy, oy, oy. What do you mean tomorrow's gonna be more fun? What about that?
The next 2 days should be really, really decent days, I think.
Okay, as we're approaching a close, remind us on earnings tomorrow because some are morning, but more are after. Do I have that right?
Most of the movers are after. Most of the movers are after.
Okay.
And so kind of the earnings story this week, Monday, there was very little. Tuesday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning was mostly cyclical, I would say. Hold on, let me look it up really quickly. So like Halliburton, Allied, DH Horton, Danaher, 3M, GM, those are kind of the names today. The names tonight: Alaska Airlines, AAR, Range Resources, again, all cyclical names. Tomorrow morning, GE Verona is a very important, but it's not going to move the needle for day traders. AT&T, nobody cares about. Pulte Group, nobody cares about, like legitimately nobody. And so there's just the earnings story this week really was like a nothing burger up until Wednesday afternoon when you get into Tesla, Google, ServiceNow, IBM, Texas Instruments, and 2 of those are Max 7 components. All 5 of them are sensitive AI names, with ServiceNow being a very important AI name, Google obviously being an important AI name. I don't have IBM in the same level of importance on the AI trade as some of those others, but it's still a very, very important name. And they weren't on guidance last week, and that's why they gapped down and got just beat up. So tomorrow night is when it gets very, very interesting.
I wonder what that's going to look like for potential price action for the indices intraday. Like if they're going to be chopping sideways, or if they're going to try and front run the positivity, or I guess we'll see.
It really, to me, it depends on what happens in the next 24 hours on the geopolitical side.
Mhm.
But in general, before major catalyst events, and I would definitely say Google is a major catalyst event. Google is certainly a tier one AI name, Mag 7 component, massive growth coming out of it. Um, I'd say usually the base case is hesitation going into catalyst is usually the base case.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too. I think that is in front of a lot of things. Like back when FOMC used to be a bigger deal, Monday and Tuesday, and even the morning of Wednesday were obnoxiously rotational and tight
Mhm.
ahead of that. And I think that the core of that is still present most of the time with catalysts coming. So that makes sense for
The
tomorrow.
major catalyst, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what she does. Might
Like,
be
it'll
extra volatile power hour ahead of it.
oh, yeah. We could definitely get some move during power hour going into, Google's earnings tomorrow.
Mhm. I'm not going to try and short the close tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So tomorrow I do my long power hour where I'm here for the last 2 hours of the day. So it'll be fun if anyone wants to hang out. I'll be here. Today I was here at 2 for psych hour and then power hour, and tomorrow I'll be here just for charting and seeing what we can see from 2 to 4. And Matt joins me for power hour
I'll probably join you a little early tomorrow.
whenever you're ready. Thanks, Gabber, for the info. I always appreciate the help there. Well, she's the high base fizzle out. I wonder if she's gonna wick out that top right at close. That would mean almost a no wick day. Set alert so it ding me if it does.
Gold has very close to a no wick day. The
Strong.
ES has the same no wick day.
Bulls
Very
are
close.
here. Some dominance there. No wicks days are a show of
Let's see
force.
if we can get some follow through.
That's a momentum closure on any candle. The market is fractal on it, daily down to the 5. A no wick is a momentum energy. Needs follow through, and usually there's a little pullback afterwards, but sometimes it's a go.
Well, it tested this level yesterday, couldn't hold the bid. Now we're holding the bid at this level. Going to be an interesting backdrop going into tomorrow.
On which
ES gold, but my comment was specifically on ES.
yeah. Yeah. Well, this is Monday high. Yeah. Right at open and then it sunk and then big scoop. Is that giving a pattern on like the hourly? Ooh. Interesting.
A flag there would be very interesting.
Because it indicate a hold up, like a
Yep.
strength. This is almost a double bottom right here. This wick from last Friday.
I would call it a double bottom on the
Yeah.
hourly chart. I would. Yeah.
Yeah. Friday to yesterday's close. Double bottom.
It's actually a really clean reversal.
Yeah. Looks good. This looks
I
strong.
kind of feel like let's confirm this bad boy.
Bust it up. Let's go. This would be an interesting target on ES up to 75, 76 to this break here.
Well, Becky, we are coming into the official close here. You got some final thoughts for the team?
Thanks for everyone. We had a nice engagement, a strong crowd at Psychology Lab today. I really, really appreciate if you guys can make time for that and show up and support the community and get involved in the conversation, because we all, I think, myself included, are a better trader for being in those conversations. So thank you to everyone who showed up. And then Power Hour, always enjoy hanging out with you guys, learning, spotting the trades together. Thank you for being here with us at BluSky. Always, we welcome questions and feedback. And if you like what we got, please share and enjoy your afternoon and evening, everyone.
Team, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. We'll be back with more from BluSky TV tomorrow, same time, same channel as always. And I hope everybody has a wonderful and blessed rest of your day. Hit the like, hit the share on the way out the door, and we'll see you tomorrow.